Hamburgers, hot dogs, and your wallet? Turns out they're all getting grilled this Memorial Day thanks to a new round of price spikes. Molly Line is at Shaw's Market in Cranston, Rhode Island. Molly?
Hey, Stuart. Well, a lot of folks are out there grilling right now, or they had the family over for the big picnic over the weekend. And if they did, they may have noticed it costed a little bit more, or in some cases a lot more, to fill their carts this year over last year, especially when it comes to the barbecue basics, that cheese, the meat that everybody wants to have at their barbecues this year. A lot of factors involved. There have been flooding to consider, droughts to consider, as well as some diseases that have affected the animal population. But let's get to the meat of this, which is what consumers really want to buy for their barbecues. Things like ground beef. Ground beef is up some 9.9% this year. The average cost for a pound, $3.80. Getting a little fancier, you want to grill up some steaks. Steaks are up 12.1% for some steak. You will have to pay about $5.50 a pound for those choice boneless cuts. And then, of course, when it comes to things like cheese, a lot of people want to have that American cheese at their barbecue. $4.50 a pound for the American processed cheese. Cheese up 4.4%. In reality, meat is up all across the board. When you talk about your chicken and the hot dogs that you want to have at your barbecue, pork as well, all of that up across the board, and especially shrimp. Man, shrimp went up a whopping 57%. So if you want to throw a little shrimp on the Barbie, this is the year where it may really be a luxury item. We're here at Shaw's Market in Cranston, Rhode Island. We had a chance to talk to shoppers and to the owner here, Robert Shore, to talk about the challenges of shopping and selling to shoppers in this economy. Take a listen.
We're selling more and making less, but we want to make sure that the customer still gets a good quality product. So that's why we've helped tighten our margins.
Marinate some chicken, put it on the grill. It's $1.99 a pound when it's on sale. $3.50 if it's not.
But then you try to do the best you can to have family and friends and celebrate.
And finally, if you are a big margarita fan, here's the big problem, limes. Limes are definitely up a lot this year, 157%. They blame that on some flooding in Mexico. So if you're a margarita person, it's going to cost you a bit more. Stuart, back to you.
I'll remember that, Molly. Thank you very much indeed. So, just how bad could it get this summer? To commodities trader Scott Shellady, who keeps a close eye on food prices. Scott, welcome back to the program. Now, for a man who wears a cow jacket, and let me explain to the viewers, you wear a cow jacket, you're very well known for it. What's with the price of beef? Why is it up so much?
Well, you know, it's actually pretty simple if you think about it the way a farmer thinks about it. At first, a few years back, we had a very bad drought. We're still suffering from that drought in the Midwest Plains, but that made there was nothing for the cows to eat, so they had to slaughter a lot of their herd at that time. And at the same time, because there was nothing to eat, the stuff that was there to eat was very expensive. So nothing to eat, then they had to go buy other stuff that was very expensive to eat, and then finally, at the end of the day, the margins just weren't there. So they got rid of a lot of their herds. Now, Stuart, this year, we've got herd counts to the lowest levels in 60 years. That's why in that last bit you had, those prices for the consumer at the grocery store are up so much. We've depleted the herds because we had to get rid of them. We couldn't afford to feed them anymore.
Well, is there no way out for this? In other words, throughout the entire summer barbecuing season, are prices going to stay this high?
Well, maybe we need to go get a genetically modified machine that we can get those calves out sooner, but it's just Mother Nature's way. It will take its time. We will be able to replenish. The American rancher is very good at that, but it's nothing that can happen overnight. Yeah. We've got some very dry weather still in California, and the weather's just not holding up for us.
Well, let me ask you, why don't I see this in the official inflation numbers? I watched inflation very closely, so do you. It's what, 2, maybe 3% a year, and you've got food prices going up through the roof. Why is it that there's this contrast between the official numbers and what I'm actually paying?
I don't know what the problem is there, Stu. You're exactly right. The food and energy component of that should be a lot higher than it actually is. Because I don't know about anybody else that's watching, but the driving that we all had to do this weekend and or what we had on our picnic tables are really the only two things that matter to us all, and they're the ones that are up the most. And I've heard low numbers, 5, 6%. Well, guess what? I think it's more like 15, 18, maybe even 20%. So I think that the American consumer, on a weekly basis for their cars and on their daily basis for their food, are going to be paying a consumption tax all year long that's going to be around 15%.
We hear you. Scott Shellady, thank you very much indeed.
All righty.